All right, Pisces. So this week it's funny because creation is not a bad card from Chakra Wisdom, but looking at it with redemption from Lay Vampire, what stuck out to me with this one was the curse. Now, Pisces, this week from Lay Vampire, you pulled redemption, absolution, forgiveness, and penance. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you have creation. Now, redemption, the blessing says, being able to be sorry, to say sorry, and to take responsibility will lift any burdens you may be carrying from your shoulders. Working with this card says it is time to be open about your remorse and to let what has been secret to be said. But I don't think that a lot of you have done anything wrong in terms of, needing to seek forgiveness from other people. I think it's internally. And like I said, what stuck out was the curse. Now, this says the blame and self-punishment you're currently inflicting upon yourself cannot make amends. Whatever we hold within can poison us. And for a lot of you, it could be, what you're holding in as far as needing to take responsibility for what you're creating with creation, but then also, needing to accept your gifts. Now, the inspiration says that your path is an artistic one. Express your love in a tangible art form. It is time to make decisions. The personal question says, am I waiting for someone's permission to create my life? What do I need to see in order to claim my own gifts? And the permission that I feel like you're seeking is not from somebody else, but from yourself. Because it's like with redemption, you're just punishing yourself instead of like being able to, put that creative inspiration into that tangible art form. Now, the key ideas are opening to magic, lasting transformation, awakening creativity, finding your muse, and owning your gifts. So I think for a lot of you, you're having difficulty with that because of redemption showing up, and there needs to be, all right, Pisces, here we go. Here's the energy coming through, the Four of Wands, and that's not bad. So building on a better foundation. What I like about the Four of Wands is, the celebration really comes from the ability to step back and, look at what you've accomplished and being able to celebrate it. It's knowing that you still have more to do here, but you're starting to see the stability take shape, especially out of, the things that you're working toward, what you're creating in your life. But the Four of Wands to me is saying too, though, that there's going to be a reason for you to celebrate. And in the past, the Ace of Coins, and that's good. Just between the two, that's perfect. I've always said when aces come in, it's there, but it's really up to us on what we do with it. And with the Four of Wands being there, to me, it's saying that you're making the most of it. Now, with the Ace of Coins, this could be a new job. This could be a new position within a job. But it's something new that has the ability to be long-lasting. And there is the financial aspect there, too, with the coins. But, again, between the two, it looks really good. And it feels like, you're trying at least to make the most of, all the new opportunities that come through. Oh, boy. Now, in the present, the King of Cups. Now, in terms of you, this is really about you getting control over your emotions. Now, the King of Cups for me is a little bit different than the Queen. The King takes an emotional distance, where the Queen will get a little bit more emotionally involved in, what people are going through. But here, in terms of you, it feels good. Now, for some of you, you may be dealing with another person, and it could be a water sign. This is somebody who is going to be supportive of creative endeavors, absolutely. But again, when it comes to you internally, you need to stop punishing yourself for not making the most of your own gifts. And with the King of Cups being in the present moment, seeing the Ace of Coins and the Four of Wands, it looks fantastic. To me, this is saying that there's going to be potential next week for you to start really building off of the new opportunities that come through. But it's only going to be after you get control over, the emotions that are going on surrounding it. Now, if you're looking at a person, this person can be responsible for the new opportunity that's coming through. And it could definitely represent somebody that you're working with. Future conditions, the Ten of Wands. So even though things are great, emotionally, you may still be overwhelmed. And then the other thing too is you don't want to work yourself into exhaustion. And I kind of feel like that with the Ten of Wands. You need to lighten the load. You can't carry so much at once. And that's understandable. Like, I almost feel like an Eight of Wands type of feeling where there's a need to have quick movement, but you're just at the Four. And for a lot of you, this is going to be the end of burdens though too. But I don't know, I feel a little bit heavy with it, but it's not too bad. I just worry about, some of you being overloaded, not just with the work that you're doing, but the emotions surrounding it as well. Your best path to follow, damn. Wow. The King of Swords. My goodness. Now, in terms of you, first of all, looking at the King of Cups and looking at the King of Swords, basically it's saying that you need to think logically and not emotionally about what you're doing. I always kind of worry when that shows up there. But really, with the King of Swords, it is about thinking clearly with a logical mind, in order to make better decisions. Where right now you may be making decisions based on the emotions surrounding it, and it may become a little bit overwhelming. The King of Swords is basically saying that you need some mental clarity and that you need to think that way. But, still, I worry a little bit. I always warn people when the King of Swords shows up that, you have to be careful about the way that, you act and the way that you speak. Because he does walk a very fine line between being uncorruptible and being extremely brutal. But I do think that for some of you, it's just going to be simply needing to think logically and not with so much emotion, which for Pisces, that's difficult. Why do anything if there's not any emotion surrounding it? In your environment, the Three of Cups, now again, that goes back to the feeling of working with people. But the other thing, though, too, looking at the Ten of Wands coming out of this, you have to be careful, too, about what's being said. And I think that's why the King of Swords is sitting there. It's like, if you're working with a couple of different people here, I would be careful about... it's funny because it hasn't, it's funny because these cards aren't showing up, but yet I'm getting the feeling surrounding it. It's got a Five of Wands type of feel to it. I would be careful about listening too much about what's being said about, the new opportunity that you're working toward, because there's that feeling of being overwhelmed by everything. And for a lot of you, this may be the support group. But on the other hand, it goes back to that Ten of Wands for me looking at it. And that may be where the emotions start to come into play here, where you're needing to get control over it. But needing to be careful about becoming too overwhelmed with, what you're trying to work toward here. Your hopes and your fears, the Four of Swords, and, again, it goes back to what's being said and needing to think logically. With the Four of Swords, it's like, it's silence. There's no communication here, but there's no action either. And for a lot of you, it's hoping to have a break, like hoping to have a break from all of this, needing to do some healing, needing to do some thinking, especially clear thinking. I don't feel like a lot of you are cutting off communication. What I feel like is you're worried about it being cut off on somebody else's end to you. On the other hand, again, it comes back to that Three of Cups and needing to be careful about all the things that you're listening to. Because it feels like there may be a lot of voices, a lot of different opinions. Be careful about the energy you're taking on from other people, basically. And that may be where the King of Cups is coming through. You got a lot of things being said to you. And it's going to be on an emotional level. And it's going to have to do with what you're working toward. The King of Cups is talking about you needing to take some emotional distance from this, because it may become extremely overwhelming. The Four of Swords, you don't want the communication to be blocked, but then at the same time, it's like you need a break from it all so that you can start to think a little bit more clearly and not be so, overwhelmed by the emotions of others. The Queen of Cups not showing up is probably a good thing here. Seeing the King of Cups is, saying that there is a little bit of a distance when you're dealing with the emotions of others. And again, for some of you, this may have to do with work and the people that you're working with, though, too. Looking at the Ace of Coins and the Four of Wands, and then being overwhelmed by all of it. Oh, the Three Kings, the Three Kings. So coming out, you have the King of Coins, and I want to clarify this. But when you're looking at the King of Coins, it's talking about being overwhelmed with your own success here, with what you're working toward. But then at the same time, what you're doing may involve a couple of different people. And there's a need here for you to think clearly about it. And there is a need to take an emotional distance. Especially, you know, and this could be even just on the mundane level. If you're at work and you have a lot of people that are coming up to you, like dumping their problems on you, you know, I feel like it becomes overwhelming, but I don't know, I kind of get more of a grounded feeling with the King of Coins coming out in this situation, but we're going to clarify that. Oh, and then the Devil. Yeah, there are things that, oh man, when it comes to your own success, first of all, with the King of Coins, right, when you're looking at the Four of Coins, it is about somebody who is trying to maintain their status. It's not just Scrooge, you know, or being like stingy. This is somebody that's trying to maintain what they have. And this is about hanging on a little bit too tightly, and it may have to do with some negative things. So again, it goes back to, you know, you have the potential to be extremely successful with what you're working toward, especially for those of you who are dealing with things where your work is involving being like, I feel like a counselor for others. You know, and this could be on the psychic level. It could just be, you know, psychiatry. I feel like it has something to do with the people that you deal with and the energy that you're taking on. You know, there needs to be kind of a cutoff point here between the King of Swords and the Four of Swords, where you just kind of cut it off for a minute, because you're hanging on to some negative energy and it may be affecting your own success. Or you may be dealing with somebody that's going to come through that's going to put a lot of negative on you, that you're going to have to like hold on and bear, looking at the Four of Coins, especially with the Ten of Wands being there. You're okay. Like, I feel like what you're doing is right for you. This is something that you're going to be doing for a long time. And the financial aspect through it looks really good. You know, I'm not seeing anything bad in terms of that. What I'm worried about is what you're actually taking on, especially on an emotional level. You know, and again, for some of you, on just like the regular work level, you know, if you're dealing with like, say, retail, whatever you're doing in terms of work, you need to be careful. It's almost like you're a sponge right now. You don't want to take on too much negative energy. My goodness. All right, we're going to take a look at the soul trees to see what else is going on for you guys. You know, and for some of you, it could just simply be, and I know this is true for me, needing to work with, like, you know, protection and shielding, especially when it comes to dealing with people who are, you know, maybe extremely negative. All right, first of all, oh boy, the fifth chakra, the throat. You know, maybe needing to speak up about something, needing to speak your truth, and that truth is coming from the third eye opening here with the sixth chakra and receiving some inspiration. That's amazing. Oh, Pisces. Oh my goodness. So I feel like these chakras are spinning the way that they're supposed to. But, you know, you gotta open up the throat chakra, right? Like, you need to speak your truth, especially if that truth is coming from, you know, a deeper place here with the third eye opening, and a deeper understanding not only of, you know, what is happening in your own life, but the lives of others. Because that seems to be an important thing here. Inspiration. You're receiving some serious inspiration with the third eye opening. I rarely get to see this card, but two chakras showing up. Oh yeah. And again, you know, with redemption and creation, stop beating yourself up. Start owning your gifts and start putting them to work for you. Definitely. Especially on the creative level, because that's just hand in hand with Pisces. But wow. All right. We're going to take a look at Whispers of Love to see what messages we can get for you guys as far as attracting love in your life. True love. Wow. This love is a once-in-a-lifetime love. Very nice. And then turn on your heart light. Allow yourself in this moment to reflect on a time when you experienced love. Very nice. So in terms of relationships, true love, first of all, is fantastic. But if you're having, this true love come in for you, it's important to, remember to be open to the experience of love. And that's kind of where turn on your heart light comes in. But not negative, very good. I worry, though, with the Devil and the Four of Coins coming out here and then looking at the Ten of Wands. Be careful on what you're taking on, because you don't want to have it affect you so much that you're denying your gifts and your creative and intuitive abilities. That's kind of what I worry about coming out of this all the way through. You definitely want to take some time to think clearly about things. But, again, I think that with the King of Cups, that emotional distance is probably the best thing right now, especially with all the voices that may be going on around you. All right, Pisces, so there's a couple of different ways that I feel about this. The most important thing here is you need to be careful about what energy you're taking on by other people. Now, in terms of the Ace of Coins and the Three of Cups, and even with the King of Cups, it's fantastic. And then not only that, you have the Four of Wands. There's going to be a reason to celebrate a new beginning for you, something new that you're working on, right? But I feel like for some of you, the reason why these two are showing up is because you need to think logically and you need to take an emotional distance from what is being put on you, because it's going to be extremely overwhelming. I do feel like you still have support for what you're doing, but I do think that you need to give yourself a break though too. I mean, obviously with the Ten of Wands being there, but what I'm worried about is the energy that you're taking on here. It's either, negative energy that you're hanging on to surrounding your own success, or this is going to have to do with a person. And there is, clearly here a lot of negative things going on with the Devil. Now, I don't feel like this is somebody who's intentionally trying to do anything bad to you. I just think that they have their own negative things that you're taking on. And that's where this emotionally overwhelming feeling is coming from. I still think that you have support for what you're doing, but I do think that you need to take a break from that and be careful, because it's like you're a sponge. You're taking on all that different energy, right? Now, in terms of the soul trees, the throat, the third eye, and inspiration, amazing. Now, I kind of go back to the Four of Swords as far as the throat chakra goes. You need to say something. There's something that needs to be said, right? I don't think that silence is the best way to go. I think that, definitely you need to give yourself a break, but there is something that's going to need to be said, especially if you feel overwhelmed by negative energy from other people. Now, in terms of the third eye opening and getting inspiration, hell yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. I rarely ever get to see that card, so to see it pop up for you guys is beautiful. So the third eye is opening and you're getting inspiration, and that kind of goes back to redemption and creation, right? Needing to own your own gifts and start putting them into practice, and I think that's what you're doing here, but be careful, right? Just be careful about what you're taking on. Now, in terms of love, true love and turn on your heart light. The only way that you're going to attract that true love into your life is if you reflect on a time where you experience love. And that is how you're going to attract that. Beautiful cards. For some of you, you do have true love in your life, which is fantastic. But for those of you who are still waiting for that right partner, you have to open up and remember a time where you really did experience love. But, overall, Pisces, I would just be careful. I just feel like that nobody's trying to do anything negative to you. It's just you're taking on too much of their own energy.